So doubles is a very important part of this game. Unfortunately, many people struggle with doubles. Not because it's more difficult, but the things that we have to do have to be done more correctly. In singles, we have a lot of margin of error. We can do some things right and get away with some other things and be okay. But in doubles, everything has to be perfect. Everything's more critical. So what I want to talk to you about tonight is the way to control your doubles game. Look at it with a more methodical approach that you can understand how to apply mechanics to doubles and have better outcomes, but also understand how important these fundamentals are and how we need to be very diligent in their application. So let's start off and jump into the mechanics and what it takes to be a good double shooter. Let's assume we're shooting a double at station 3, which is where we're going to start tonight anyway. And we take our first shot and we break our first target 20 feet before the center stake, which is actually good shot placement for a pair. At that point in time, the symmetry principle says low 3 is 20 feet the other side of the stake. So here's what has to happen. After we break our first target, the gun has to go into transition. It's a changing direction. It's a 180-degree hairpin turn. And as I go into transition, here's the tricky part. The eyes have to shift from the high house side of the barrel over to the low house side of the barrel. Why? Because that's where the low house is. Now here's a very common mistake made in doubles. Shooters will take their first shot, go into transition, out of transition, and start looking for the second target. 100% of the time, guaranteed, you're going to be caught out in front and have a dead gun trying to bleed off lead. So the way we correct this is with this eye shift. So understanding the symmetry principle, understanding what the targets are doing in relationship to each other, we can understand what the gun and the eyes have to do in transition. After we break the first target, get into transition, eyes come across, find the second target, and I will promise you 100% of the time, if you can find the second target with the eyes, you will come out of transition, matching gun speed with target speed, and having the correct lead. So here's what people find frustrating about doubles. We have this sequence of events. The problem is, you have to do every one of them correctly and in sequence. And if you screw up one of those stages of that sequence, that pair explodes in your face. Meaning this, unless we have good, consistent first shot placement, we can't even advance to step 2, which is an eye shift. Because if your first shot placement's inconsistent, your second target's always going to be at a different place in space. So the eyes won't even know where to go. If you don't get 1 and 2 correct, you can't even have a clean transition to the second target because the eyes won't find it. So the key to doubles is good, consistent first shot placement, followed by a good eye shift. Once I do 1 and 2, actually steps 3, 4, and 5 will generally follow suit and fall into place. So as we look at the pairs tonight and we look at the mechanics and how we approach them, always the 2 most important things to a double are having a good, consistent first shot and having a great eye shift, shifting the eyes to the hoop, finding the second target. Once I've done that, everything else will fall into place and you'll experience much easier pairs. So we just covered the symmetry principle, which controls everything in doubles. But let's break it down even further. There's a sequence of events that has to happen in every double, and if we control that sequence of events, it's going to be a good pair. Number 1, consistent first shot placement. Number 2, the eye shift, finding the second target. Number 3, the gun transitioning to the second target. Number 4, coming out of transition, matching gun speed with target speed. And number 5, having the correct lead and finishing the shot. So let's talk about number 1 in the sequence, and that's shot placement, because shot placement really is the critical thing to doubles. It's interesting to me that most people, when they talk about doubles, when they think about doubles, everyone's all concerned with the second shot. Doubles has nothing to do with the second shot. Doubles is all about a good first shot. If we have a good, well-placed first shot, then again, everything kind of follows suit and we're able to go into the transition, find the second target. But if we're inconsistent or have bad first shot placement, we've got some problems. So let's talk about this in a little more detail. Right now, I'm standing on the target flight path. And we can see I'm standing about 20 feet this side of the center stake.